Hi there, I'm Eric Wordweaver Sjerven, Gothi of the Ridgar folk here in East Texas, and I'd like to welcome you to Raving Reviews. This is a show where I go on and I talk about different media, movies, TV shows, anime, books, comics, whatever it is that strikes my fancy at the time, catches my eye, and I want to talk about. And these are not done in any kind of specific order. I film these, kind of in batches and then release them from time to time just to let you guys say, hey, here's a little extra something, it's fun. And there's no set schedule, there's no set order, it's just kind of whatever comes up. These are real laid back, and if you guys can't tell, my computer screen's over here, my iPhone screen's over here, and my camera's over here. So I'll be bouncing back and forth, so if I'm not looking at the camera, forgive me. You guys know the drill. I'm going to skim through this one because I don't go through all the detail and everything for these videos, but subscribe, ding the bell, contact information's in the description below, comment, all that stuff, join the Facebook page, you know the deal. All right, let's talk about today's subject. Going anime on this one, guys. And I'm going to come back to anime fairly frequently. As a matter of fact, I will probably do a couple of catch-all anime ones because there's a lot that toe into but don't necessarily go there all the way. And so they don't necessarily merit their own video, but I may do like a 3-in-1 kind of thing. I don't know, we'll see. This one I'm dedicating to its own video because, oh wow, okay. So let's get started, guys. This one is called The Master of Ragnarok and Blesser of Einherjar. That's a Japanese title if ever I heard it. All right. For those of you that are not familiar with what the different tropes of Japanese anime, let me get this out of the way first, all right? There are different kinds of anime for different viewers, and they fall into specific categories. Some of them blend categories, etc., 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 fantasy, history. This one, this is a weird mix, man. This one has elements of the historical fantasy, but it is a harem anime, which if you're not familiar with what harem animes are, harem animes usually center around one character who is the main character and for some reason finds himself thrust into a group of, anywhere from, 4 to 8 women, sometimes more. He's surrounded by beautiful women and ends up in, situations where boundaries are pushed, this, that, and the other. And there's a lot of fan service kind of stuff to it because it plays up the relationship. The essence of harem animes is the relationship. He has some specific reason why he can't be with all the other girls in the group. He's either in love with somebody else or he's in love with one member of the group, but the others keep mucking it up, all kinds of stuff. So harem anime in and of itself has been around forever. If you've ever seen stuff like Love Hina or anything like that, it's old school cool. I like some of them because of the way they play out their relationships, and usually the humor in them is good, and they come back to essentially a wholesome kind of sentiment, despite the trappings of the inappropriate ecchi kind of stuff. Which, if you're not familiar with ecchi, it's the light fan service perversion kind of stuff. Usually plays up the sexuality of the females in there. Take it for what it is. It is not. That's what is so weird about this particular anime is that it is not a main point in this anime. In a lot of these, it is very much a main point. In this one, it's there because it's a harem anime and it has ecchi elements, but it's almost like they're shoehorned in because they don't necessarily have a lot to do. Anyway, so that being said, whether or not you watch this one is entirely dependent on how comfortable you are with those elements, okay? This is not one of those where I'm going to go out and say, you guys need to watch this anime. Mostly I'm doing this one because this is one of those anime where, like I said, it's ostensibly a harem anime, but the setting that it's put in brings it into our wheelhouse in a weird way. I mean, hell, it's called The Master of Ragnarok and Blesser of Einherjar. Wow. You look at that and go, that's either going to be awesome and all about Norse mythology, or that is going to be horrible. And I'm not even going to lie. When I looked at it, I said, that is going to be horrible. It's not horrible. It's not good either. This is not a good anime, guys. Just from anime review, like strictly from an anime review, this is not a good anime. All right, so do not go into this thinking you are going to get some Hellsing or FMA action, Full Metal Alchemist for those that haven't seen it. This is not a good anime. All right. As far as this goes, I mean, you're to get kind of similar elements, you're better off going and watching the Fate series than you are watching this. And it's a good anime. It's not a great anime. It's a good anime. At least the ones that are not based on the video game are. But Master of Ragnarok stars Suo Yuto. And this guy goes back in time. Yes, he goes back in time to some mythic past of some indeterminate distance of time, and he is plunged into the world of Yggdrasil, where he becomes the leader of the Wolf clan and must wage war against neighboring clans and simultaneously search for a way to get back home to the modern day. Okay. Essentially, that's kind of a weak setup for an anime anyway. It's been done a million times before, maybe not exactly that way, but you know, it's tropey, which you expect from anime. I mean, especially a harem anime, you expect there to be some tropiness to it. It's more about the characters, the interactions, and the relationships than it is about the anime. Except for this one. This one's more about the story than it is about the relationships. It fails at being a good harem anime because it focuses on the world, it focuses on the setting, it focuses on the culture. This is a harem anime that aspires to be something more, but fails to be either one. I've watched the whole thing through. There's only one season of it up on Crunchyroll. I don't even know if it has multiple seasons, to be quite honest. No, one season came out in 2018. I would be surprised if they do more. They might. I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. So essentially, this guy ends up lost in the world of Yggdrasil, which is ancient times, and he has his smartphone, which apparently is charged by solar energy, I guess, because there's no power there, and he makes a comment at one point in time about getting it out in the sun more because his battery's low, so I'm guessing it's solar powered. Go figure. And somehow he has data on the thing. He transfers through time with the use of a magic mirror that is tied to the modern day. He's still in contact with the girl he's in love with in the modern day, and they pass information back and forth. As long as he's within range of this mirror, apparently he can even call her. But you have to be in range of the mirror for it to give the connection. Okay? So, yeah. It's set in the world called Yggdrasil, and you can already see there's some name-dropping elements go on here. There's a lot of name-dropping going on in this particular anime. It is, I mean, the gist is, you know, like I said, he's thrust back in time. He uses the smartphone and the information that he has throughout time, access to Sun Tzu's Art of War, access to, you know, Guan Yu and some of these other just immense, wonderful generals that through, you know, history, be it, you know, Greek or Roman or Chinese or Japanese, whatever, he pulls from all of these and throws these tactics at an unsuspecting world that's not ready for them. You know, phalanx soldiers out there, pincer techniques, hammer and anvil stuff. And that's the gist of it. Each of these episodes seems to be built around how he can outsmart the other individuals of that time with his future knowledge. And he even himself calls it cheating because he knows he's cheating. But it's all about him building these relationships with these people in this era and how all of that plays out. Now, let's look at some of the heathen elements to this, okay? Because it's called the Master of Ragnarok, so there's got to be some, right? Yes and no, and then surprisingly, yes, okay? So, on the surface level, you look at it and there are names dropped everywhere. Everything you see, Thjalfi, Steindor, you've got, I can't even keep them all straight because everything was a name drop. Everything was a name drop. Sigdrifa is mentioned as a character in the movie, in the anime series. Angerbolda and some of the other Jotun are mentioned. Everything is a name drop. Everything is a name drop. And so it's like somebody took alphabet soup from the Eddas and just threw it at an anime, and anything that was possibly anything got a name. And then, you know, you're looking at it going, okay, well, this is obviously not based on Norse mythology because none of this is right. None of these interactions are right. These characters don't correlate perfectly, but there's some that are obvious. Like Steindor is obviously based on Thor. When you see him, you'll understand. He's obviously based on Thor. And then the anime goes meta and tries to explain itself. Okay? This is... I'm not going to spoil it, but just know the anime tries to explain itself and gives a reason for why there are these name drops, gives a reason for why none of the stuff perfectly matches up to Norse mythology as we know it, but could ostensibly be viewed in It's a poor example, all right? It's a poor explanation. It doesn't hold up, but it's a harem anime. It's not supposed to hold up. These guys are not geniuses that are writing this. Is it fun? Nah. So, they're not necessarily great at it. But there's some interesting elements, okay? So, we got the name dropping thing, but all of that kind of is just superfluous surface level stuff. You're looking to see who the next name is going to be and how loosely based this one is on the actual Eddas. And I will admit, the explanation that they give halfway through shows an increased understanding of Norse mythology, specifically Norse mythology, because they seem to be pulling from the Eddas and the sagas and whatnot there, as far as the Norse Icelandic kind of bent on things. Those are the names they use and the influences there. They even go out so far as to call it Norse mythology. And so, there's some strong elements there to it. Names dropped, correlations made, weird crossovers. Surt is mentioned, Fenris is mentioned. The title, he's the Wolf Clan, and one of his soldiers, his lead shock trooper, as it were, his main general, her title is Managarmr, which you get into the wolves guarding hell, etc., and things like that. There are some really cool elements to where they chose to name drop. There are some neat scenes in there where you can tell they're paying homage to Norse mythology on a superficial level. There's not any deep understanding of it. So that's why it's like, yes, but no. It's like, yes, there's name droppy stuff all over the place. No, it's not really there because it's a superficial understanding of heathenry. It's not even heathenry. It's a superficial understanding of Norse mythology that's slapped together with some cheesy, half-assed explanation on the meta level. So it's like, And then yes, surprisingly yes, because here is the entire reason to look at this particular anime. The rest of it you could leave to the side because it's useless. It's not a good harem anime. It's not a good historical fantasy anime. It is not an accurate representation of these characters or the Eddas. It's anime. I don't expect it to be accurate, but it's not even remotely illustrating deeper understanding. Some of the things I will go into in some of these other reviews that I do show at least a deeper understanding of the mythology itself, more than just going through ye old, Eddas and going, here's a name, here's a name, here's a name. And don't get me wrong, there are some areas where they name things that are more spot on than I would expect. It's not completely random. One of the things that he brings back with him is ironworks and everything. He's looked up how to do that, teaches people how to do that. And so his main base is set up in Janvidar. Which is iron. Janvidar is his home base. And you end up with a lot of ties to things that show that they understand, like, use of language. This is the first anime I have ever watched where they actually refer to someone as a Goldie. And they mean it in that kind of Icelandic Gothi kind of element. Sort of. They didn't nail it, but it was there. They actually have a Gothi. And so it tripped me out to see that pop up there. They even used the Icelandic /D. Man, it was cool to see that. That one geeked me out there for a little bit. And then I got lost in the just kind of meh of the rest of the anime. I watched it all the way through because I wanted to see where it went. I wanted to see what kind of closure I was going to get. And I will tell you this, no closure. Fair warning ahead of time, there's no real closure to it. So don't go in expecting to have this great ending and then... It's okay. It's kind of cliche. But anyway, the yes the surprising yes, the element of heathenry that I did not expect was one that tied to a recent video I did, and that is on the oath web. Because, holy crap, they actually went there. The entire thing is, now they use terminology for it that is astray. It doesn't fit with the design of a hold oath or anything like that as far as the terminology goes. But if you look at the structure, interesting. You have Suoyuto. This guy is the patriarch of the Wolf Clan. He's the leader of the Wolf Clan. They use the term patriarch because all of the oath positions to him are familial relations. You've got those that are on level with him that he calls brother and sister. I say on level, slightly below. And then you have those that are subservient to him that are sons and daughters. So they are his children. And when he conquers someone, he can show them honor by making them a brother or a sister, which then maintains a level of their autonomy and their sovereignty. They still remain sovereign, but they are sworn fealty to him. Or they become one of his subjects by becoming his children, and therefore honestly become part of his clan. And it's interesting to watch because you've got the central figure, the seat of luck, and then the oath branches that come out from that. They're sworn over a chalice. The chalice oath is seen as sacred, as unbreakable. The oaths sworn over the chalice supersede all others. And they bind these relationships into permanent bonds. And so you end up seeing this oath web build over time. And being a patriarch, when he takes oath of someone who is the patriarch of another clan, that brings their clan into the family, as it were. It brings them into the oath web by virtue of the tie that this individual patriarch now has to him, because they have sworn an oath over the horn, over the well, over the chalice. They have ritualized oathing. And it's cool. Is it spot on? No, it's not spot on. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. But to see something where that is an element that they pull forward, and of all the things that I've seen in this particular anime, I was disappointed with the vast majority of it. There were some things that were cool, but I could not stop geeking out the entire time I watched this stupid thing about the hold oath and the oath web. Because they got it. Inadvertently, accidentally, they kind of got it. Not perfect, but man, they're closer to it than I have seen a lot of people in a lot of different settings get to illustrating a hold oath and a hold oath system. Because when you bring in one of these patriarchs, all the people underneath them are attached to the oath web through that patriarch. All roads lead back to the seat of luck, all ties to him. And so if he falls, then all of this falls apart. All of this, so it's centered on the seat of luck. It's centered on this oath web and the interactions between. And that part was honestly kind of cool. So, is it enough necessarily to watch the anime? I don't know. It's neat that it's there. From a heathen standpoint, I enjoy the fact that it exists. The fact that it is there kind of trips me out. And so, and it was named the Master of Ragnarok and Blesser of Einherjar, because all of the Einherjar are there. I mean, there are Einherjar, but the Einherjar aren't the Einherjar that we know of from Norse mythology. It's a title given to kind of blessed individuals who have runic powers, and it's a thing. The gods are present but not present, and the Jotuntainen is weird. None of it tracks. None of it's there. The only thing that I really saw that made me geek out, other than the fact that I heard the name Gothi in an anime for probably the first time ever, was the hold oath and oath web setup. Fascinating to me that they would go that route. Fascinating to me that they would choose to do that, and that they did so fairly well. Just amazed me. The rest of the anime, it is mediocre at best. It's got 5 out of 10 on IMDb. I think it had 2 stars on Crunchyroll. Do not recommend as far as an enjoyable anime. If you're going to spend time watching an anime series, albeit it's only like 12 episodes long, and they're the standard 20 22, 24-minute episodes. But if you're going to spend that kind of time watching an anime series, there's better to go watch. Don't waste your time on Master of Ragnarok. If you want to see the Oath Web kind of play out in an anime, and you don't mind the harem kind of ecchi elements to an anime, you're not going to be offended by that, because some people would be. You could check it out. Could check out a few episodes anyway. I have a rule. I'll give any anime 3 episodes. If I'm not hooked by 3 episodes in, then this probably isn't the anime for me. If I'm not at least, I don't have to be hooked. I have to be intrigued enough to continue. At the end of 3 episodes, I can tell whether or not I'm going to watch this series through to completion. If I don't watch past the 3rd episode, I'm never going to finish the series. If I do watch past the 3rd episode, I'm finishing it. Because that's just kind of how I am. At that point, I can tell I'm going to be sucked into it. And even if they take turns that I don't like later on, I'm in this deep. I'm going to go all the way and see how it ends. This is one that if I hadn't had any intention of reviewing it for the channel, I probably wouldn't have made it past episode 3 on it. Because it's one of those that it felt kind of shoehorned. Like, hey, let's make a Norse anime. Let's make a harem anime. But we're going to slap it in this Norse thing, and our real idea is that we've got this kid from the future with a smartphone who pulls all of these military ideas to the past and conquers stuff and is amazing and becomes the patriarch of the clan, and then we'll use that to springboard these other relationships. They're kind of an afterthought, even though ostensibly that's what this anime is supposed to be about in the first place. But we get distracted between this and this and this and this, so we never actually drive anything home on any of it. So I wouldn't recommend it. Don't watch it. Unless you just kind of want to go through and see how they play out the Hold Oath. It is not perfect. It's not spot on, but it is closer than just about anything I've seen in an anime up to this point. As far as the way those relationships play out and interact. And you got to watch a few episodes to really get that gist. But you do get to see the ceremony, which is kind of neat. So anyway, that's it for this one, guys. Master of Ragnarok and Blessed of the Anyar. Don't waste your time on it. Heathen element, yes, in the Hold Oath. The other stuff, yeah, it's there. It's just kind of window dressing, superfluous. You could probably change most all of it out, and it wouldn't have had any impact on the anime itself at all. You could have slapped Game of Thrones stuff in there, and it would have worked just as fine, I think. But the Hold Oath thing was kind of neat. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this review. I will do more anime later on. It just depends. There's a couple that I have in mind that I really, really need to talk about, because I've mentioned them before on my Ravens Call show, but there are some that I really want to pinpoint some stuff and look at and get you guys to go watch, because I think there's some really cool elements. And then I've got other movies and books and video games. I just have a whole stack of movies, so I'm trying to catch up on some of those. So thank you guys. Hail. Hope you enjoyed it. May your hearth fires burn bright. Alright, we're going to do The Master of Ragnarok and Blesser of Einherjar. Holy crap. This is crazy. Alright, and we are in 3, 2, 1. Let's jam.